Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Higgins from the Comic Conspiracy Podcast, and we are here at the end of this fine month of March in order to thank our wonderful backers on Patreon, especially our top-tier backers. Next week, if you would like to have your name on here, pimp your product, or if you would like to just be in our general list, you can donate any sort of amount of money, $1 and up, on patreon.com/comic-conspiracy. But these are our top tier backers for the month. Can't forget to thank these guys. Our good friend Albert Soy has a Plant Everywhere app on iTunes. Make sure you check that out. Julian Titus has the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
No pants.
Toby's not here, but Brock jumped in. Thank you, Brock. Pixelbit.com. And Julian Titus's his episode that he was on, our 300th episode, along with our Logan discussion, is our number one downloaded episode of all time.
Until tonight.
Until tonight, probably. But at least until now, our number one episode. Thank you guys for checking out that episode. And go on.
It only took $299.
Go to pixelbit.com and listen to Julian's podcast as well. Ryan Hess has the Preach podcast at soundcloud.com/Preach podcast. Jody Lawson has Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at comicstudios.com. I knew I could get that out. As well as our good friends Manoa Place, Sam Che, Talon Bray, and Craig Anderson. Thank you guys all very, very much. And if you would like to be on this wonderful list, once again, patreon.com/comic-conspiracy, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help support this podcast. And now on with the show. Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 303 for the week of March 28th, 2017. My name's Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
I am the BRYCELARSEN and the meant to be.
Very good, very good, very good.
And I'm just Charlie.
Oh, Charlie. Hello, just Charlie.
Part of me felt like Bryce was having difficulty spelling his own name there.
Yeah. I think you forgot your name.
Well, I'm not used to rapping it out in like single letters at a time. Plus, that just happened just now, and I wasn't I didn't prep it. And
that's good. It was good.
I'm a much better rapper, as my wife will attest. So much better, so much better. When I can, have time to plan it. I'm not some sort of mastermind, rapid spit-firing battle rapper like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
So.
You did it to yourself, though.
This is not,
I know, it just came to me.
This is not comic books, but this is definitely nerdy. Bryce, you went to see Hamilton, one of the opening shows in San Francisco.
Yeah, we were there on Friday, which is the second opening night. If you don't count the preview shows, which some people do, some people don't. But I took the old lady on a little date night action for her birthday, actually, which went over quite well in the non-comics conspiracy Facebook friends that I have. They were all quite upset with me for showing them up as the husband that took his old lady out actually on her birthday to actually a show that she would like, which was fine because I love Hamilton, so or at least the soundtrack I've just been obsessed with, and didn't even know about this Lin-Manuel Miranda guy until Hamilton just blew up. I actually first saw him on Last Week Tonight doing the Puerto Rico thing.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, who is this guy? This guy's like awesome. And then he was on like one of the Jimmy Fallon shows doing some like freestyle rapping with the Roots guy, which was incredible. And then I just like got obsessed with the soundtrack of this Hamilton thing. And I like musicals enough in general. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And anyway, there's like a bunch of hip hop in the Hamilton one, such as it is, and just fell absolutely in love with it. So, anyway, I took the old lady to see Hamilton for her birthday, and it was an incredible show. I'll tell you more about it off air because it's probably boring for lots of listeners. But
we're going in a couple months.
It was an incredible show.
How does it compare to the original cast recording?
It was so. How do I phrase this? It was. I would say I would give it an identically positive review. There were some things that were slightly better. Yeah. There were some things that were slightly worse. Nothing was majorly better or majorly worse. I was actually kind of shocked because I went in there saying like, babe, there's no way we come out of this not being disappointed because our expectations are literally 100%.
Well, we saw a couple years back, we went and saw Book of Mormon, And I mean, none of the Broadway cast, obviously, and I'd heard the soundtrack 100 times, and it was fucking hilarious. It's awesome. You know, I mean, when you're actually in the moment, you're not going to know. You're not going to realize what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way of putting it. Like, there were so many moments that were better than, like, just me listening to it by myself that made up so much for, like, anything that I might even nitpick. And I have plenty of nitpicks, but, like, there were other things that made up for the nitpicks that I thought were flawless. That, like, one example is, like, how many, air quotes, funny moments there were. Like, all these tons of lines in the soundtrack. You're like, oh, that was clever. But people, like, the whole theater, like, laughs out loud at these moments when they're actually done in the theater. Right. And you're like, oh, that was actually funny. I've always thought that was funny, but, like, I guess if you get it, like, you know, one person chuckling times, like, 1,000 people.
If I'm sitting at home watching, like, a comedy, it may be funny, but I'm not, like, laughing hysterically to myself. But if you're in, like, a theater or, like, a, you know, like, I've seen, like, like, a stand-up, and you actually go and see stand-up live, it's, like, infectious. You just start laughing.
Infectious, that's the best word for it. That's a great call.
I had the reverse experience when I watched, was it Not Another Teen Movie?
Oh,
and there was
that classic.
Yeah, that classic. Well, there was the part where I want my $2, and I was the only person in the theater that laughed. And I was like,
not a lot of people get it.
All you people who don't know that reference.
Well, that I'm sure was almost as good as Hamilton, but in any,
it's probably far worse than Hamilton.
In any capacity, you know, you do have to like musicals, and you know, it probably helps if you like hip hop. But dude, you would be shocked at how many like retired people there were. There was tons of people in their 60s and 70s and older, both male and female, that were like, what is this Hamilton thing? It's gotten incredible reviews. Let's go see it. And it's like, I don't understand, because
it's the theater. Of course it's all old people. When we went to see Book of Mormon, it was like I'd say 60% people 50 and up.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, when you could tell, like, during the intermission, you look around and you're like, all right, these people clearly get the joke. These people clearly do not get the joke.
And so I've heard a stat that there are more words in Hamilton, like sung/spoken,
it's long,
than any Shakespeare play.
Okay,
by itself.
Wow.
Which is incredible, but like when you see these songs, and Higgins can attest, like some of these songs, the raps that they do, like I guess the rhyme spitting like segments that they have, like they spit out so many words like in quick succession that it makes perfect sense that there are more words in this, you know, experience than in this play than anything else. I don't want to go too far down the Hamilton rabbit hole. We'll talk more about it later, but highly recommended. It's playing right now, obviously, to those who know that and care, in Chicago, Broadway, and here in San Francisco. And in about August or September, it's going from San Francisco down to LA. The other two venues stay the same. And then from LA, it's going to tour around, I believe, a little bit. Tour around to different venues for, you know, a month or two, in various areas around the country. For example, Boston and whatnot. Where Chicago and Broadway, I think, are staying permanent for the time being. But I highly recommend seeing it if you like musicals and haven't heard of it. I don't know like what rock you've been living under, but highly recommended. If you like musicals, which is probably like, you know, if you already take our listeners and then take that subsegment of people that like musicals, I don't know. Go see Hamilton. It's incredible.
One of my sisters is flying out from Virginia. She said it's cheaper to fly out here and see it here than it is to go to New York and see it. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So they're flying out for a day.
She's pregnant, isn't he?
No, not the other sister.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're going to talk some comic book stuff here.
Comic books.
Great Hamilton. Myself, Charlie, and Brock all actually have a recent published comic we want to talk about here. Charlie, why don't we start with you?
So the latest issue of the Unworthy Thor came out last week, which...
Whoa. Are you going to do the spoilers?
Well, I think Charlie wants to talk on Unworthy Thor.
Well, I asked you if I could read this. I'm going to go outside. Was it... Wait, I don't even want to know. Don't even tell me.
Man, we need to talk comics more because Bryce just automatically leaves.
Bryce, I'll wave you in when it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they finally answer the question that was introduced in the original Sin miniseries, where basically Nick Fury whispers something to Thor, and then Thor can no longer lift his hammer, and That's why he's kind of going by the Odin son right now, and you have Jane Foster running around as Thor. And they finally answer that basically he was told that Gore was right and no gods are worthy of the praise they get.
Gore is the god killer that he introduced in the first arc of his run.
What kind of breaks my brain about this, and it's something I didn't really consider until they revealed what was said. The mythology of Thor's hammer has never had to do with belief or if you perceived yourself as worthy. It's always had to do with the hammer basically judging whether or not you're worthy.
Yeah.
So I have no clue why being basically told you're unworthy, even if you believe it, would cause you to stop being able to pick up the hammer.
Well, I think it goes into what happened with Thor after it was whispered to him is that you introduce self-doubt.
But that's what Charlie says, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's never mattered in the Thor mythology.
Unless he also whispered to the hammer.
Yeah,
he told the hammer he was unworthy.
Maybe the hammer overheard. No, because I mean, you kind of have to equate it to, a Green Lantern ring, right?
But it's not.
No, Thor's hammer. I mean, the whole idea of Captain America trying to pick it up and all these. Are you telling me Loki kind of went, I'm not worthy of this hammer? No, there's all sorts of people over the years who have tried to pick up Thor's hammer who have been found unworthy and had nothing to do with their belief on whether or not they were worthy. So unless somehow the act of being told he's unworthy changed him fundamentally,
could have.
But my problem comes that I think that all gods would lose their power at that point, but the power of Thor is not the hammer, right?
Yeah,
I think, or I mean, that's the confusion of Thor, is that he's not Thor. I mean, but he's not Odin's son either. I mean, he exists as both. So I don't think the hammer works for other people the way it should for him. Because when he didn't have the hammer, what was his name? Just his name was always Thor.
Yeah.
So it's like that hammer. It's weird. Like, it shouldn't really work for anyone else the way it does for him.
And even beyond that, the way they're handling Jane Foster as unlocking all these new abilities within the hammer, again, is I really like the Thor books, but it is not internally consistent with what they've set up through the years for Thor. That's kind of a problem with the series. Yeah, and as I said, it's not something that I fully realized because of how much I'm liking the story, but it is one of those things that, like, the more my brain sort of dissects what they're passing across, the more I'm just like, but that makes no sense within the mythology.
I mean, if the switch, I mean, they could just say, hey, it is, if they deem themselves worthy, that's the switch. The hammer is now, goes for what the person internally thinks. But then you said, Loki fully believes that he is worthy to hold that hammer. Whether he's right or not, he believes it, so he should be able to pick up the hammer at that point. It does make for a difficult story. But, I mean, Thor's coming back. Yeah. I mean, they have the artwork of him and Jane Foster Thor on the cover of one of those Generation books, so he's not going to be unworthy for much longer.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, it's definitely been a good book. It's one of those things, and like the Green Lantern ring thing is a perfect example of something that's been very inconsistent over the years as well. Like, I can point issues that completely break the mythology of Green Lantern the same way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just...
We need a phantom hammer.
It's one of those really weird things that the more you think about it, with the general history of Thor, the odder it is.
We'll call Bryce back in. But we'll see. We'll see what they do with Thor in the next couple of months, because I think he's going to be kind of coming back full force, part of Generations. Brock, one of our listeners asked if you had read the new XMen Manowar title. You're our Valiant guy. Yeah.
Valiant reader.
So they just relaunched XMen Manowar. Pretty big launch. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It was nice. The art's amazing on it. The story just...
Is it Carrie Nord?
I'm not too sure.
It's the art of the new series.
We sold out, right?
Yeah. People ask me all the time, we don't sell a lot of Valiant. I have a small but loyal group of people that read Valiant comics here, so I don't get too many shelf copies.
Yeah. For the most part, I mean, it just jumps ahead to, Eric, being it's told in the future, not like the far-fetched, distant future, but he's no longer, married. He's no longer on planet Earth. He's kind of isolated himself from everything.
Arik,
yeah. And then now he's kind of brought back into basically war. And so there was an inconsistency in the book that I thought was weird. He actually shaves off a piece of the Shannara armor, or Shara. I can't remember how to say it.
Oh, wait, it's not Karen Nord. I think because he did the first series. I thought maybe he was coming back.
No,
man, it's a shitload of artists. It's Thomas Jarello, Doug Braithwaite, Clayton Crane, who I really like, Ryan Bodahim, who I don't know, and Miko Suyin. Yeah. I don't know. That looks like just other people that have done work with them.
But he takes
it's gonna be like different artists every issue.
Yeah, he takes a piece of the armor and makes a ring, and then he's doing all these battles and stuff, and then at the end he's like, I'm gonna need you, and the armor's like, you kind of go, well, why did you take a piece of the armor off? You just called the armor. So who knows? But I mean, overall, it had a good feel to it. It continues from basically where, just jumps ahead in time from where the previous series ended. So I mean, it's
worth jumping on if you haven't read the previous stuff, or is it kind of just
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you don't need to know all the past stuff to jump in here.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the old series is really, really good, so I recommend it anyway.
How long did the old series run?
50 issues.
Wow.
Yeah, the last XO ran about 50 issues.
Yeah, before they relaunched it.
Before they relaunched it. Yeah. So, we'll see. I mean, issue 2 comes out. We'll see if it keeps going with the quality.
They did a weird thing with XO where they did a pre-order. So if your comic store pre-ordered this pre-order set of 1, 2, and 3, they have like extra pages and bonus content. So that's the only ones we got is that pre-order one.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I actually picked up a regular copy over at Elusive. Yeah, because I was like, oh, okay, I like the cover on the regular one.
Yeah. We just got the pre-order ones, because they're the special ones.
But yeah, I mean, definitely it's a good number 1 to jump on if you want to check it out. If you're curious about Valiant at all, XO Manowar at all, definitely a good place to start.
Moving on real quick, I definitely want to talk Superman Reborn. I knew I could talk. That was the final of the 4-issue crossover between Superman Action that just wrapped up. For people that don't know what they've been doing, basically there's been an imposter Clark Kent running around during Rebirth. And so there's been this fake Clark Kent. Bryce is giving me some look. He just lost in Hearthstone. What happened?
No, I never lose.
Okay.
All the time you do.
50% of the time.
So a few weeks ago, they're getting spoilers for the story arc.
That was fake. That was mock surprise, in case you were confused by my sarcastic look.
Well, a few weeks ago, we found out who this fake Clark Kent was. It's unfortunately not Superboy Prime. It is, in fact, a depowered Mr. Mixelplex who, when trapped, he basically was forgotten by Superman when the New 52 relaunched, and he trapped himself here on Earth as a way to kind of like get back at him. But he forgot who he was by doing that, so he became this imposter Clark Kent to try to help him get his identity back after the events of Rebirth. But he then was depowered and didn't realize what he had done and was stuck as this fake Clark Kent and kind of trapped between two worlds.
He did too good a job being Clark Kent that he forgot he wasn't Clark Kent.
Yeah, he fooled himself. So there is still this mysterious person who is guiding this universe that most people believe is what's his face, Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, and at the end of this, there's yet another tease that that's the case.
Well, there was a lot of teases this week for that stuff. Well, there was the tease in Batman.
Yeah, they keep pushing Dr. Manhattan, so it's probably someone else, but it makes sense if it is somehow Dr. Manhattan kind of ripped the New 52 universe apart. But the big plot here that I think a lot of people are trying to figure out is what is the full story of Superman? Because the launch of a New 52 is very different. a more traditional Superman came back as part of Convergence with the kid, with John, his son, and an older Lois Lane who's not married. The original Superman died. Lois Lane became Superwoman because his powers...
the New 52.
Yeah, the New 52 Lois became Superwoman because her Superman's powers kind of went into her and Lana, and then she died immediately with those powers. So you have the new Superman, or sorry, you have the classic Superman and Lois with Jonathan that are on Earth, as well as the New 52 Superman and Lois that died, and Lana has those powers. So this all goes back to that. To a variation of the original Superman Red, Superman Blue story. So when so the story here, how this all wraps up is that when Flashpoint happened and when the New 52 was formed, Superman was kind of depowered. He was ripped in half, basically, to a much different power level, younger, and that's why he's so different in New 52 than he was prior. Much, this whole idea of them taking the 10 years. Well, in Superman, it was more exaggerated than that. He was literally, split in half, red and blue.
Yeah.
So the original version, the blue version, went to the Convergence world, was part of that, and continued to live. The red version was the New 52 version, and now due to Mr. Mxyzptlk kind of getting his powers back and figuring everything out, and Jonathan kind of helped merge those two back together when they were out kind of in the weird ether. The New 52 Superman came by, and now they're all back together. So we have a completely reformed Superman continuity, all the original Superman continuities back. Lana, we're going to find out more about her stuff in Superwoman in the next few issues. All the original villain story arcs have been returned to some fashion of reality. He died. They got married. They had Jonathan. He got his red boots back. The literally only change to Superman at this point from New 52 to now is he doesn't have red underwear. He is the exact same character as pre-New 52 once again.
Get him out of here.
Putting Superman back clearly in a place where he should be, because the New 52 version, as we, they kind of explain in this, just never, they're literally like, this didn't really work. Let's just push them back together. Yay, now they're the Superman we remember. They very, do kind of wink and nod, acknowledge that they made a pretty big mistake with that version of the character. And, I love this story. This goes back to that Jeff Johns idea of you don't need to retcon stuff. You don't need to change stuff. Just take the continuity that exists and write a new story to work yourself out of it. You don't have to just change crap for no reason. You don't have to say it never happened.
Yeah, amen. Jeff Johns said this?
This has always been his thing. He didn't just say, Parallax never happened, whatever. He took the idea of Parallax and made it into something for Green Lantern. He did it with the JSA. He's done it with all these characters.
God bless Jeff Johns.
You take those terrible stories and you find a nugget, and you work that nugget, and you bring it back to classic. And that's what they did with Superman.
I love Jeff Johns' nugget.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, it should be. It's a confusing thing.
Yeah,
the whole story is confusing.
I read the last two issues.
So the way I kind of read it with the merger is it does maintain everything that happened before.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like it was basically saying that it maintained both lives, both the New 52 life and the...
Correct. The New 52 life happened. It's not like it retconned the continuity. So it's like he has this time where he's split into like these two beings that had this separate adventure and then went back. So the stuff in New 52 all happened.
Yeah, but it does... Rebirth, while I really, really like a lot of what they've done, is also doing a very good job of sort of picking and choosing what to bring in and what to kind of leave the way it is.
Oh, exactly. Well,
this is one of those cases where it's like, we're just going to do both.
Well, right. What works with this is this idea that the timeline has been truncated by 10 years. This, if they want to, can be the first fight of the heroes kind of fighting back against it and expanding Superman's timeline, because now Superman is obviously much older than 10 years as a hero, right? Or Jonathan is 10 years old, right? So he not like he had Jonathan his first day out on the job. So this now was starting to push back against that compressed timeline. And as the issues go on, they're going to expand.
I don't necessarily think, or maybe I didn't interpret it this way, but I interpreted it like the entity that is Superman obviously is older and stuff now, but I didn't think it rewrote the current reality at all. Or did it?
No, I believe that they're going to have... I believe it rewrote the past to a degree. It must have. I mean, we will find out in the upcoming issues what happened. But I mean, they're still going to remember. I think they're still going to remember that, like, oh, Superman was weird for a little while there. But I don't think it's going to be.
But so a lot of the dynamic they've had in the Justice League book specifically is you're Superman, but you're not our Superman, and learning to trust him. I don't think that dynamic has changed based on these events, because at this point, does he just show up and go, well, actually, I am your Superman, and I'm like...
I think in the next few months, like I said, they're going to very quickly push that plot, just smooth that plot out, and it's gone, right?
Okay.
That's what I feel. But again, that's what they said. The next handful of issues are going to be exploring what is now the continuity,
because it wasn't just Superman that got merged, it was Lois that got merged.
Superman
as well.
and Lois, right. Clark and Lois,
but I think that,
and there's going to be big changes to Lana, because she even says that in the issue. She's like, we used to go out, like, am I going to remember this? Did that still happen? And so they're going to explore all those elements going forward. All right, got a handful of other stuff to talk about here. This also about comic books. So there's a Marvel Retailer Summit this past week. I did not go to it. It was all NDA'd. We don't know any specifics.
were you invited?
No. It was only select. Retailers.
You're not special.
Well, that's because he already has all the answers.
Well, this is true.
While multiple venues have reported on this, obviously there's no specifics, they're all under NDA, but they were allowed to kind of express their feelings, if you will.
Ooh, expressing feelings.
And numerous retailers that I trust and respect and look up to that I know are there, they all had very similar reactions, that going in, they were, less than thrilled with current Marvel status. They were hoping to hear good stuff. They came out possibly the most excited they could have been. What they were told and the plans coming up for Marvel have been just jaw-dropping, one of them said. These are not guys known for, a bunch of asshole guys sitting around the podcast yelling and screaming a bunch of hyperbole about garbage like we are. Like, these are people, like, actual businessmen that I respect. So the fact that they're this positive about it gives me very, very high hopes for what Marvel's got. I mean, we've talked about this on and off for the last few weeks. There's a lot of stuff that no one's really talking about. I think we're going to start seeing stuff get fully announced. I know C2E2 is coming up in a few weeks. Marvel often has stuff at C2E2. That's kind of the kickoff to the convention season. Within the next month, I think we're going to start to hear.
Well, Marvel already dropped a bomb in the middle of a conference.
Well, we talked about Marvel Generations.
What was the bomb?
Marvel Generations, which got a full kind of announcement this past week. Not creative teams, but they did put up the characters and the characters and the art, creative teams,
the art and stuff.
Yeah, appears to be 10 one-shots of all those characters that are on that Alex Ross painting that cover. Did you see this, Bryce?
Yeah. Okay, that's a beautiful painting. Can I?
And in the middle of this press release, they dropped the return of Hulk, Iron Man, and Wolverine, and they're just like, "Yep," and we don't know to what degree. I have to assume Wolverine's coming back.
Well, wasn't one of the things that they announced was also the young Jean Grey and the original Jean Grey.
Right. So there's a couple questions. Is original Jean Grey coming back? That would surprise me. Would you just announce in the middle of a press release that Wolverine's coming back? Like, I feel like that's something they would shout from the heavens. The confusing one to me is Marvel and Captain Marvel. I don't know that there's people screaming for the return of Marvel.
Not to be confused with Miss Marvel and Miss Marvel.
Well, right. So there's Captain Marvel, the original Kree, right? Yeah, he's a Kree guy.
Yep.
And Miss Marvel, now currently known as Captain Marvel,
Carol
Danvers. And then there is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel, the current Miss Marvel.
Right.
So, I think OG Jean Grey, I would love for her to come back, but I'd be surprised if she comes back, honestly, at this point, especially with the young ones sticking around. Wolverine coming back. I mean, we all want him to come back, but this seems like yes. But this seems like a weird way to announce it.
Owner of a store who's
yes. I want Wolverine to come back.
Which is fucking weird because you love to get on Twitter and talk about how little Wolverine sells.
Oh, Wolverines at the end in that last series of Wolverine.
No. Before Wolverines, when it was just Wolverine, you love to get on Twitter and talk about how many DC books outsold Wolverine.
It sold like shit, but you know what didn't sell like shit? Death of Wolverine. That sold humongous numbers.
Yeah, but I didn't hear you talking about that or tweeting about that.
I'm sure I would have.
Yeah, well, you didn't, and that's just because you're a hypocrite. But,
anyway, very excited for what Marvel is coming up.
Okay, can I say something that might, damn me or get me in trouble?
Shit.
So, look, I'm a middle-class white male, so this absolves me of all credibility, probably, of talking about, any minority thing ever. Look, Marvel's done a great job of getting more minority, stories told and creators and everything. I'm just kind of annoyed that you look at that Generations poster and they've done a great job.
I got the full list here if you want that.
Of expanding the what's the word? The resume? I don't know what the word is. The whatever. There is not, however, a single Asian, a single Latin, a single...
Amadeus Cho. He's Asian.
Oh, good point. He was
Korean.
green. So, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay. All right. So there is a single Asian. Okay. There is not a single Latin. There is not... What else did I have in my... In my gauntlet.
Well, let's get on this list. I'll go down the list right here.
My point is that they've done a great job of getting. They've doubled the amount of females, which is, By the way, all of this is great. Like, it's such a step forward from where it was. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there is all of a sudden a lot of female representation, which is so much better than it was. When it used to be all white male. So fair play. I'm just saying it's kind of like the Oscars where it's like there haven't been any. Well, there have been, but it's been so few comparatively.
The intention is on white and black and not
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for being better than me. It's like a white black thing when it's like, excuse me, where are the Indian representation, the Latin representation, the fucking Asian representation is abysmal. I mean, comparatively to the population in the United States, much less the world. Like, how is this not being talked about more? Like, there was a headline in A1, San Jose Mercury News, if not the New York Times, where they were like, they're making it a black versus white thing, and it's like, excuse me. The fucking... has there been, like, if there has been one, has there been two, like, single Asian Americans that have ever won an Oscar? And I mean, like, a major Oscar. I don't mean, like, for sound mixing or some bullshit like Suicide Squad won for. But I'm just saying that, like, it's just, like, this Generations thing, it's like, there was no... So, and this is probably a little biased, and it's tongue-in-cheek biased, because, again, I'm, white male, so it's tricky, and I don't mean to get the podcast... too much of a tangent, but like, so my son is part Asian, I guess, if you want to get down to it. Well, not if you get down to it, because that's literally the fact. But like, there's literally no Asian, like, Oscar winner that I can think of for a main category. And like, for the Asian Oscar, or I'm sorry, for the Asian, like, comic book, like, what am I going to point them to? Like, some martial artist or Hulk. That Hulk is a douche, by the way.
Yeah.
But even if he's not...
You know what's funny? So Amadeus Cho's a douche. New Superman, also, that is a dickbag. The two fairly...
Is New Superman an Asian dude?
Yeah. It's Chinese. Two fairly recent...
Oh, I heard about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's terrible. Two fairly recent Asian characters, both assholes.
So I'm just like, look, what the fuck is it always like a black versus white thing? Like, I want to, like, raise my son and have, like, this is an awesome Asian character. Like, so my son is 3/4 Caucasian, so whatever. But, like, if I ever want him to say, like, oh, like, your Asian heritage is awesome. Check out this awesome representation of Asian superheroes in this douchebag.
I'll tell you why I think there's a slight reason. I'll tell you why I think there's a slight reason why the focus may. American and European comics have almost entirely been focused on white culture. Manga has almost I forget the Korean comic name. Maui? No, not Maui. What's it called?
What are we watching, Moana?
Hey, you're welcome.
God, I can't remember what they call it. That's near entirely. If you think white comics are bad, Asian comics are entirely Asian, right? So the Black and Middle Eastern races have rarely been major points in comic books, both on both Western and Eastern comic books. So yes, while I would like to see more Asian Americans or Asians in American comics, I think the focus is on races that are underrepresented in the entire medium. So I think that is you're 100% right. But
which is the first time you'll ever hear Higgins say that to me in this podcast. What I'm saying is, and not that you're disagreeing with me, because it sounds like you're most
agreeing with me. There are very few Middle Eastern and Asian characters in Western comics. Very few. We got Sunfire, Ryan Choi, and he's like the one DC one.
It's like the most racist thing ever. Anyway,
Sandra Kane, she's half Asian. Yeah, there's not many of them.
It's just been very frustrating to see this black versus white thing when there's so many other cultures that are so criminally underrepresented.
Well, let's go down this list here real quick and we'll take a look. All right, so we have Iron Man, which is going to be Tony Stark and Riri Williams by Brian Michael Bendis. So white male, black teenager, female. Yeah. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, again, white male, black teenager, male. Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, and Kamala Khan, who's white, female, adult, and Muslim girl, teenager. Thor, Odinson, and Jane Foster. Thor and Jane Foster. So white male. I mean, I guess not really. I mean, he is, but he's a god. Sure, white male and white female.
And cancer.
I do appreciate the fact that tripped you up.
Well, it's like, I mean, I guess he's a white male, but he's a god. So it's a little different. Hawkeye. Oh, and that's Jason Aaron, of course. And G. Willow Wilson, of course, writing Miss Marvel. It's all the same people that are writing him. Hawkeye, Clint Barton, and Kate Bishop by Kelly Thompson. White male and white teenager. Hulk.
Female teenager.
Female teenager. Hulk, Bruce Banner, and Amadeus Cho. We talked about that. That's by Greg Pak. Jean Grey, young and old, Dennis Hopeless. And that's, Bryce. All new X-Men. The final issue that came out this week. Please, for the podcast, go grab a copy, flip through it, and just get to the last page on air. I want to record this. Jean Grey, young and older, white. Wolverine, white. X-23, white. She's a clone. I don't think there's no. She doesn't have any other lineage, to my knowledge, other than Wolverine. That's by Tom Taylor.
I just saw the Logan movie.
Captain Marvel, Marvel and Carol Danvers, Margie Stoll, who I don't know, she must be the writer on the current book, and Captain America, Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson by Nick Spencer. Again, white male, black male, both adults. So this is from Alex Alonso. He says, we are looking to honor the legacy of the entire universe. So we're taking these iconic legacy heroes and pairing them with the new class. So yeah, so
it seems like the new class is just. I can't even finish the sentence.
Well, this
is going to be a 1-star reviewed podcast.
This does feel to me like what's going to happen is what we kind of expected. Half the books are going to be classic Marvel characters, probably with their legacy numbering, probably back to being as traditional as they can get them. Wolverine, Hulk, the X-Men, all that normal stuff. And then a fourth of the line or whatever is going to be, those 10 new characters.
Well, new air quotes.
New, right. I would say there's a few that probably else that could stick around. Squirrel Girl could easily stick around, just because I think that character has a bit. You can have one Squirrel Girl, that's fine. There's no need for 10 books like that. So, but all these.
By the
Guardians,
way, nobody gives a fuck about Squirrel Girl.
People do. A small part. She is a popular.
Let me ask you a question. Any of those? What was it? 10 different air quotes people. What do you want to call that?
The new class.
Sure.
The columns.
Sure.
Do any of those books sell worse than Squirrel Girl?
Yeah, like half of them.
Which ones?
I mean, I can pull up Comic-Con if you want me to take a look. I can. If you want to give me a second, I'll pull it up. So, go grab all new X-Men off the wall. I want you to flip through it and look at the last page.
I want to do that on a Bryce briefly.
No, do that now.
No, you need to do it now.
Right now?
Yes.
Right now, motherfucker? Okay, I'll do it right now.
Well, let's see. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. What sells worse than Unbeatable Squirrel Girl? I'll do this while you're looking at that. Let's see. With this most recent issue, Scarlet Witch sold less. Prowler sold less. Great Lakes Avengers.
Wait, it sold less than what? Sorry?
Then Squirrel Girl. Moon Girl sold less.
Wait, so far you haven't mentioned a single one on the Generations
Patsy Walker, poster. Mosaic. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you are wrong, which wouldn't be the first
Fool Killer sold less
time.
Yeah, maybe I am wrong. Maybe all those books slapstick. Well, maybe they are going to get rid of Squirrel Girl. Again, I don't care if Marvel has one or two books here and there that sell randomly not great, right? I mean, we talked about
wait, dude, so can we just take a moment to acknowledge that you were totally wrong? Like, all of these books are doing better.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So then they probably won't have Squirrel Girl.
But again, the thing is wait. You're basing it off of Comic-Con numbers. Based on in-store numbers, it's a different story.
Oh, God.
Well, true. Do I sell fewer? I mean, a couple of them I definitely sell fewer than Squirrel Girl. Yeah. But no, Squirrel Girl is a character that has sort of bucked the trend and became a popular character, a very obscure character that became somewhat popular with a certain crowd. And I don't mind that if a book or two like that exists, but not 10 or 15. Yeah. Those characters that they are marked as the second half of Generations, I don't think half of them will have an ongoing series in 2 years, but they've had them for a couple years, and I was wrong about that. So, we'll see. I think the sales, those books will all fall to the bottom of the sales chart when the classic stuff returns. I mean, that's just what I assume is going to happen. Again, you could have a couple books that sell in that 15, 20,000 range. It's just when they get so much lower than that, there's no reason for these books.
Well, I mean, it's the Jonah Hex thing that we talked about with DC. Like, Jonah Hex was not necessarily the best-selling title out there, but it was well-received. People enjoyed it. DC was like, we're gonna do this. And Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray went for 50-some-odd issues.
Yeah, it had an audience.
And it had an audience. It had a run. It's really, really good.
Yep.
Too bad the trades are out of print.
Yep. Well, I mean, they could redo those or something, but they probably just didn't... they just probably didn't have enough sales on those. But it doesn't hurt to try, and Squirrel Girl's got more than her share of trying. And I'm not just saying that because I like it. I mean, there is an audience for this book that is there is a public knowledge of this character that exists on such a higher level than like the new Ghost Rider, Mosaic, Solo. That
Killer,
exists more than Slapstick, than Wasp, and all of these characters. So I don't care if this character sticks around, but yeah, I think Charlie flipped through all new X-Men. You get to that last page.
This is like the most rushed Paco Diaz art I've ever seen, and I'm halfway through and it's already terrible. Just the art and all new X-Men I haven't liked in a long time.
Yep.
Oh my god, what is even this? What is this? Oh my, what is it? What is she winking? Oh my god. Oh my god, what is this?
Well, we got some
terrible art.
We got some TV movie stuff to talk about here, so let's get through a few of these. We got some trailers to talk about. Actually, before we do that, I actually meant to mention this at the very beginning of the podcast, and I suppose this is as good of a time as any. Today, it actually is today, is the Comic Conspiracy's 6th anniversary.
Yay.
What?
Our very first episode,
anniversary.
March 28th, 2011, with Ryan and Brock.
Yep.
Don't listen to those first 40 episodes. They're awful. Just don't. Just start.
Oh, I think everybody should listen to those just to torture Ryan and then tweet him about them.
They're great. But yeah. So yes, happy 6th anniversary to us. I forgot to mention that at the top of the podcast. Anyway, let's talk about some movie and TV stuff here. Arrow, if you're a fan of Arrow, Kitty Cassidy, who's been off this entire season except for like a very brief cameo, she's actually going to be coming back as a series regular as Black Siren.
Yeah. She was in Flash as Black Siren.
Yeah, and she was on Arrow too.
Arrow also.
Yeah, so the Earth
I haven't
2
seen the Arrow before.
Evil version of Black Canary is going to be back on the show. So clearly, they're going to continue with what's her name? This character's name. Dinah Drake, she's going to continue as Black Canary, and Katie Cassidy will be back. So that's going to be weird, but I hopefully they figured out whatever they had and why she left the show. That seems super strange.
Well, I kind of felt like she left the show because they went, we're going to have a grave. And they admitted at one point that they didn't even know who was going to be in the grave when they decided to have the grave. Yeah.
Oh, God. So. Well, we're going to move on here to... Whoops, where's my notes? There it is. So, we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Spider-Man's getting... And we're going to talk more Spidey here in a few, but Spider-Man's getting a kind of cinematic universe movie with SpiderMan Homecoming coming out this year. But according to Sony, they want there's an upcoming Venom movie, which they're planning to release in 2018. So, I don't know how the hell... in 18 months, this Venom movie is supposed to come out. Good luck with that. Of course, if you have a Venom movie, it would of course be rated R, because now that Deadpool and Wolverine have shown that studios shouldn't be afraid of this, there's going to be an R-rated Wolverine movie. I'm sorry, an R-rated Venom movie. They also want Black Cat and Silver Sable to have their own solo movies, and I feel like we mentioned this briefly.
Individually, or
yes. Okay. So, and then today, a Sony executive said that Homecoming may be the last Spider-Man appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're going to pull him back out and not renew that contract because he was in Civil War, and now in Spider-Man Homecoming is kind of the second part of that. And so they're going to have kind of refocus their ideas on this Sony Spider-Man Cinematic Universe, which is like, oh God, people, come on. Like, I mean, I'm down if they're good, but a Black Cat movie, a Silver Sable movie, why? That I just don't see.
I'm just too busy being a little shocked at so we finally gave people what they wanted. Everybody's been singing praises about the usage of Spider-Man because
that money, right? That 20% or whatever that they have to kick to Disney, they want it back, and if they think they can do it themselves. But,
But isn't Spider-Man also supposed to be in the next Avengers?
Oh, I'm sorry, he is in Avengers too. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. He's Infinity War. That's right. Mm-hmm. Infinity War is the final one. Sorry, not Homecoming. Yeah. Infinity War. But that's it, right? I mean, they won't be in the other movies, and he won't be in that movie. Bryce, you don't need to read it. Just flip. And get to that last page.
Am I going to get to this last page and not understand the context?
They're
fighting Unis the Untouchable.
No, just look to the second to last page to get a little bit of context, and then flip to the last page.
Oh my God, it's already been so bad.
Yeah, you don't have to read it.
What is this? Where is she going?
But we may end up with a Spider-Man cinematic universe, which was always the intent, and then they pulled away from it, and now they're going back to it. So, but hey, an R-rated Venom movie could be awesome. If they do it right, it'd be so cool. The other two,
wait, what the?
They got some balls on those.
You're not done yet. Keep going.
Got some balls on those executives to okay that.
This is the worst thing ever. Who is this? What? Wait, that's what? This is the last page of this. What? Am I even on?
No, you're not being punked.
Like, I didn't tear pages out of the comic or anything. No.
Wait, what the fuck?
I think Bryce just lost the meaning of life.
We broke him. That's a pretty special comic, huh, Bryce?
What the fuck is even...
I'm not even worried about spoiling
who's
this.
Writing this?
It's Dennis Hopeless, your favorite.
Didn't we just have like a Facebook thing about Dennis Hopeless? This is fucking garbage. Who allowed this?
Probably the same people that allowed half the Marvel books published in the last year. I don't know.
What song do you want to dance to, Bryce?
Dude, this is fucking bad.
So sorry for the spoilers here. If you're a big all-new X-Men fan, I apologize in advance.
Spoil. It's just really bad. Did I say the spoiler, or did I say the spoiler?
No. Do you want to? Should we leave the audience guessing?
No. All I can say is do not... Jesus Christ, that is fucking... Like, are you kidding me?
It'll be all bleeding cool in the morning. Don't worry. Like, everyone will be talking about this tomorrow.
Oh, this isn't out yet?
No.
Okay.
Everyone will be talking about it tomorrow.
This is really bad. Oh, wait, the fateful finale?
Yes, last issue.
Oh, thank God.
But
Bryce found the upside.
But they're the blue team.
Yeah, that's X-Men Blue, yeah. No.
Is it written by Dennis Hopeless?
I just don't know who's writing it.
Well, whatever. Our boy on Facebook says that Dennis Hopeless has done some good stuff. The Spider-Woman.
Yeah,
that I haven't
Spider-Woman's
read,
good.
so I can't say. But all I know is that all new X-Men is fucking hot garbage.
Yeah.
That was the worst ending to a book I've seen since anything written by Cy Spurrier or drawn by Frank Quitely.
What about the last issue on Uncanny X-Men?
No, that's not over yet.
That made him angry on a whole different level.
That's like that doesn't count because that was a blip. That was like a major blip. It was like those road bumps that you go to City Hall and you're like, what the fuck?
Gigantic road bumps.
Yeah, and you're just like speed bumps, and you're just like, fucking why? Why would you do this? And City Hall's like, oh, taxpayer dollars, maybe. And then you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And they're like, vote for me. I got nothing else. Oh my god, I just don't even know what to say. That was terrible. I just want to spoil it so bad, but
everyone's going to be like, "What the hell is a spoiler?"
Yeah. Highest selling book.
Go look on Bleeding Cool. Maybe we'll talk about it more.
Look,
next week.
all I can say. Wait, so okay, I'm going to spoil it. So you don't.
No.
Okay, no, I won't.
So that way they at least go to the shop and somebody picks it up and looks at the last page.
So we're talking about
So
Spider-Man.
you just want them to all like horribly bend the comic books at their shop as they just like and then put it back.
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
So Sony Cinematic Spider-Man Universe, of course, is going to kind of relaunch itself here with Spider-Man Homecoming. We got a new trailer for it that just came out. Bryce, we will not spoil anything about this trailer for you because I know you're anti-spoiler for trailers.
I don't want to hear anything. Well, you know what I mean.
So people often get mad that trailers spoil too much in movies. I didn't actually know this. Apparently people are mad at the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer.
Whoa.
Again.
Okay.
People said that the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer spoiled the entire movie, and I didn't understand what the hell they were talking about. Apparently, everything in the trailer is in the first 15 minutes of the movie. So it doesn't.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't spoil a single thing.
Well, Star-Lord's in it. That's a spoiler.
Shit. That's a lot of stuff.
Well, sure, right. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what I've been told. So
I don't think it's the first 15 minutes, but
I think that's what James Gunn said. He was like, "Yeah, everything in that trailer is in the first 15 minutes." So maybe I misunderstood, but anyway, there have been only a few times where I feel like, well, the entire movie was in the trailer. That's for sure. Unless they pull something crazy out of their ass, the entire movie is in the Spider-Man 2 trailer.
Yep.
It feels that way.
They show the setup. They show a major conflict. They show possibly the end of that conflict. And then that's probably the end of the movie. Unless this is some weird, like, multiple, because the way that trailer is set up, it feels like this is the beginning of the movie, and this is the middle of the movie, and this is the end of the movie, and this is the last climactic scene. And they don't even like cut back and forth. That trailer is in appears to be in chronological order from start of the movie to the end of the movie. That's I will eat crow if that's not the case. But Charlie Brock,
No, it definitely feels that way.
Feels that way. I mean, there are some things that hop around, but for the most part, the whole trailer is very sequential in a standard. Standard. This is the first act. This is the second act.
Yeah.
This is the finale. Yeah. Like it's, and I think that you, I think that really takes away from, okay, this is the overarching story in this movie. Do I really care about this overarching story? Because you have to care about that enough to want to go see the film.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, the smaller relationships in the film, which kind of add to the film that you get while you watch a movie, that stuff's, normally a little bit better to kind of tease in a trailer, but here it's virtually non-existent. I mean, there's one scene with the love interest?
Oh, yeah.
It's one scene with the love interest, and then the scene we've already seen with the friend.
I don't think that's going to be a major part of it. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, they're obviously taking a lot from Ultimate Spider-Man with this. And, maybe a little bit from just regular...
well, it feels like it feels like Ultimate Spider-Man mixed with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the end is coming.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything in there that I absolutely love. I've been very kind of on this Spider-Man movie as is. I hope it's really good. I have very little to no faith in Sony to make it good. even with Disney's involvement. But fingers crossed.
So I was very, very hopeful with the way he was used in Civil War, with the way they sort of set this up as feeling very, very much part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
If they pull back that agreement, though,
then
I
kind of all up in the air at that point.
And I'm wondering if that also means, are they going to reboot Spider-Man again?
I don't know. Who knows?
Because
how do you work around it if they don't have that agreement? Yeah. I don't know. Well, Spider-Man's coming out not too soon. What's it? July or something like that?
Speaking of movies that you want to be good, but have the studio has a sketchy track record and cock-shaped cod pieces. Did you already talk about the other trailer?
No, Justice League's next. This is it.
Literally.
Did you watch it?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Literally, he has a cock-shaped cup covering his cock.
Okay, we'll get to Flash in a second.
Okay. By the way, I haven't watched it because I'm going to watch the movie because it's basically homework for this podcast.
That is correct.
And I will watch it if it is a... Not that anybody actually fucking probably...
Hopeful.
People cares.
Hoping it's good?
No, I'm unsarcastically hoping it's good. Of course I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome. I guess I forgot / didn't realize that Superman wasn't really involved. I'm sure he shows up at the end or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unclear.
So don't tell me even if you know. But yeah, I mean, I fucking hope that it's good. I'm sure we'll get into it. I've not seen the preview though. Although that Flash armor.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Batman. So this is the first official Justice League trailer. There was like that like Comic-Con footage thing that they screened. Like this is the first official trailer for the movie.
Okay.
So let's start with Batman. Batman. It's Ben Affleck Batman. He's great. Yeah. He continues to be great. A little change up to his armor.
He looks like Han Solo on Hoth for a second.
At the very beginning there. Yeah. But you know, I mean, it's Batman's the same. If you like him, you're gonna love him. This trailer, he looks great. If you don't like him, you know, you could see that they're trying to make this movie a little more fun. It still has that Snyder look, but there's some quips, there's some funny parts. You know, there's some good banter between him and Aquaman. So I like how they're playing Affleck in this movie.
And I like the fact that in the trailers, at least, you can tell they're really pushing Aquaman to the forefront here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was it a trailer for Justice League?
Full trailer. Yep.
No.
Official trailer number 1.
Well, okay, I wasn't fucking done. I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about the one that they previewed. It was months ago.
Yeah, no, that was like a con. Like, oh, here's the footage we have to show you.
It's the con sizzle reel.
Yeah,
Snyder was like, I was up all night and I brought this to the show for you guys, and here you go.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, this is like trailer that will air in movie theaters. Wonder Woman. Again, I think she looks awesome. She looks amazing. If you liked her,
I was just waiting for the music.
Yeah. Well, that's
was
in
the
solo
guitar riff
film.
in the
no. Solo trailer has it, but not this one.
The same riff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is an awesome. Is that our theme song?
Yeah. It's
that
so
is a
good.
fucking awesome theme song.
It is. Okay, so Aquaman. I wrote secret best character on the Facebook group. It's not a secret. He's the best character. Aquaman is going to. People are going to. I mean, I don't want to say they're trying to make him like the Drax or the Groot or like the Rocket of, you know what I mean?
They're trying to make him the Carl Drago that actually talks.
But he,
not fucking Carl.
Carl Drago,
that guy that like delivers me milk. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, Brock's only read the book, so it's okay. He doesn't understand.
Okay. Really?
No,
I've read the books. I watched the
joke.
shows. I also have the sinus right now, so I'm sorry if.
Oh yeah, blame it on that.
Aquaman looks.
I hope you lose again.
Aquaman looks fantastic, and I mean, he looked awesome in those still shots and some of the early motion. But just there, he looks like a badass. But he's just like gives no shits about anything.
The only kind of hesitation I have towards his character after watching that is it feels reminiscent of of Ultimate Thor, in kind of that off.
badass godlike.
Yeah, like it's, but he's off. There's something off about him. But it's not all the time. There's only a couple of scenes in the trailer where I kind of get that feeling. But for the most part, what I've seen so far outweighs that. But it's a Zack Snyder film. He's destined to disappoint somehow. I thought it was good, Bryce.
I know. I appreciate.
I'll talk about the characters, but I do want to talk about some of the footage what they got there. Flash next. That costume's rough. There's no way around it.
It's armored and sleek, baby.
It's not sleek at all. There's no way around it. That costume is bad.
Hey, that codpiece is aerodynamic.
Now, rumors
it
circulating
captures the speed force in ways you don't even know.
Rumors circulating a while ago was that he gets a more traditional costume via Batman, kind of like Spider-Man Tony Stark thing, like end of the movie. Who knows if that's true? I'm praying it is because that costume is bad. However, the Speed Force and his powers look fucking incredible.
Yeah. Take Flash and multiply it by a huge fucking budget, and holy shit!
Like those couple quick shots you see of him zipping around, like it look. I liked what they did in Suicide Squad, but this is real big budget Flash. I thought
the scene
awesome.
with one of the others was like, oh shit!
Yeah, Cyborg.
His origin looks good.
Maybe I tweeted that my hot take is that they're making him look as bad as possible so they don't actually have to do a solo Cyborg movie, and they can get out of saying that. They can get out of that.
That is super interesting that you say that, because I actually also think that he looks fucking terrible, but I can't say that on the Facebook group without catching a fucking bunch of garbage.
No, he looks awful. He's looked awful from the second they showed.
Thank God. I felt bad thinking that, because despite fucking popular belief, I want this to be a good movie. I really do.
So when they have him with clothing on, with a hoodie on, and you just see the half cyborg face, he looks perfectly fine. When he's fully cyborg, he looks awful.
I like the helmet. The clothes thing that he has coming down. I like that aspect.
Sure. But I pray that he is in full clothing 99% of the time that he's on screen, because it looks bad.
Yeah,
his powers look cool, but he looks like a PlayStation 1 game. It's super janky and blocky. And
well, I think it's also, I think the difficult part is also he doesn't contrast with the rest of the world. Like Wonder Woman, her costume blends and meshes well with the world, but it also contrasts enough that it's Wonder Woman, right? Flash is kind of the same way, even though it looks horrible.
I mean, it's a dirty Flash's costume. It's dirty and dingy and everything.
But the thing is his looks like
it's dingy, not dingy.
Dingy.
What are you, fucking
it's dingy.
boat captain?
It's also full of dings too. Dingy and dingy.
The thing is
you meant to say that. Okay,
he doesn't really have a contrast to the world around him, so he kind of he's moving around, but you see his eye and you see the chest bulb, but everything else is just kind of awkward looking.
They need to take Photoshop. Drag him 25%, the little arrow on the corner.
Lighter side?
No, to make him bigger. Because he looks like he has this tiny body.
It's weird.
And this big head.
It is a fucking weird look.
They need to just increase him to make him look like his shoulders are wider than his head, because that's not what he looks like. And then they need to
Why do I get the distinct feeling we're going to see on Vanity, Zack Snyder goes back to post-production to fix some things real quick.
And then they need to just darken his entire costume and give it a bit of a... Because it's got this very silver... They need to dirty that up a little bit and darken it a little bit, because it looks too fake. It looks way too fake.
So...
I won, by the way, so...
The way I kind of look at it is... When they designed the Green Lantern costume, they went fully CGI, tried to fuse some energy into it so it didn't look like a sort of traditional costume. Yeah. I kind of feel like they did the same thing with Cyborg, not in terms of green energy, but they tried to make the technology feel very futuristic and transformative, where I would rather have seen a look similar to
RoboCop or Terminator.
Yeah. Why is that so hard to were they going for a Transformers thing? Because I think the RoboCop thing would have been way sexier.
I think what it is I think that if they had gone with the RoboCop and kind of had it basic, but had him evolve in the movie, because that's what he's doing. He's constantly evolving, as a cyborg.
That's an aspect of the character that they've been pushing very, very heavily. I really prefer the older cyborg kind of. I don't mind him.
Well, the thing is, he kind of has to update to the times with wireless and internet and all this stuff.
Yeah, but you can do that without being like, oh, my armor's gotta kind of have a life of its own. He just has to have a Nokia
antenna out of his back.
Yeah, if the Flash costume is busy, the cyborg costume is busy to the 100th degree. It doesn't read well. Now, I don't hate the Transformer movies. I think that effect works for those movies.
Right.
It is it's a lot of visual noise, but I feel like it generally works for me. Cyborg, unless if they're showing him this constant state of flux for part of the movie and then he settles into a form, like, I guess maybe that's fine, I guess. But it just doesn't read well in the scenes where you see him in action in this. It looks, again, we're still 7 months out or whatever, 8 months, 6 months
November.
out, 7 months out. So it's possible that there could be a few more visual passes and they could clean up his effects and maybe change some of the stuff. But it's like, this is what he looked like in the Comic-Con shots, and this is what he looks like now. I think this is just what he's going to look like.
Yeah, I don't think Zack Snyder gives a fuck. I think that he's like, people love Transformers. Transformers makes a lot of money. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in Cyborg, but I'm almost insulted by Flash. Like, why the fuck does the Flash need armor?
So the pitch
the Flash
here is that
literally God.
So here's the pitch. So what it is in the movie. This is
backpedal.
This is the movie. So in the movie, he basically puts this together himself. This is what they've said this publicly, that he kind of cobbles this together from stuff that he finds laying around.
The Flash does?
Yeah.
He's faster than anybody, but he needs a bunch of armor. What?
I mean, I don't care.
He's faster than bullets, but he needs armor. Keep going.
I don't care. The Flash has a level of armored protection.
Yes,
on him.
level of sure,
right. So if they could find a way to give him a more traditional costume at the end of the movie, fine. But this one is way too. It's so patchwork, and I don't. It's just not a good look.
It looks like
patchwork. He looks like he belongs in Halo.
It looks like the first. It looks like a cosplayer's first attempt at making.
It doesn't even though like. It
looks like a cosplay's like.
Yeah, that really crappy spray.
If I went to Tap Plastic and I was like, I need some fucking shitty cosplay armor for my like World of Warcraft female monk warrior character.
Female monk and warrior.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dual class?
I'm just saying that, like, Flash can run faster than bullets. Why does he fucking need armor? He can run faster than anybody, like, with a sword. Like, why does he need fucking armor? He has
I agree.
Skin-tight latex suit his whole career. What the fuck, Zack Snyder? What the fuck?
Well, again, in New 52, he does have... Yeah, the New 52 and Rebirth books, he has...
Thank you, Charlie, for agreeing with me.
Well, I was going to say, it's the direction they've gone in the comics with the New 52, and guess what? Everybody had the same complaints when they did that in the New 52.
Wait, did they give him armor in New 52?
Yeah.
Wait, what is he in Rebirth? Does he have armor? I guess I could look at the wall.
Kind of like splits the difference.
Yeah.
It's not as clearly bulky armory type thing that he had during New 52, but
it looks more like Cisco actually worked on it.
Okay, so I get that this is just, I guess it's nitpicking, but like, there's sort of obvious nitpicking where it's like, Toby's thing about Iron Fist. Oh, we got to talk about Iron Fist. Toby's thing about Iron Fist last week about, the lack of understanding of cultural norms or cultural sensitivity in Iron Fist. It's like the same thing, I guess, to comic book sensitivity and I know it's totally different, but for what they're offering with this Flash armor, it's like, what the fuck? Like, they want, and yeah, Cyborg is just ridiculous, but I guess you can have an explanation for it, whereas Flash is just like, what the fuck are you even doing?
The only explanation I can think of is in the 90s TV show, they did sort of show that if he's running at super speed in normal clothes, it gets all fucked up.
Yeah, then you're getting into like a physics argument with the Flash story.
But what I'm basically saying is if it's he had to cobble together something that could hold together when he's running.
Otherwise, he'd be running around naked all the time.
Yeah.
That's how I like my Flash movies.
I'm going in with this being like,
pretty
can't
much what
wait
a
to the end of the
Flasher
movie
does.
when Flash is in his normal costume. Can't wait to the end of the movie when he's in his normal costume.
What you gotta hope and think is that this is gonna be a fucking dope movie, and it doesn't matter what he's wearing. And
Bruce Wayne's going to come. He's going to meet his hot aunt, and they're going to have a conversation. And he's going to say, "Hey, I want your friend. I'm going to take him." And he's going to give him a box with a new suit in it. And
except he's gonna be so like sad Affleck. He's not gonna be all cheeky Tony Stark. He's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, Marissa Tomei, I have a better Flash costume for him." Whereas Tony Stark is like, "Hey, how you doing?"
well, so in that trailer, they recreate one of the scenes from the Flash TV show, which is also from the comic, of Flash and his dad in jail doing like the hands on the prison, the little
Partition glass.
the glass partition thing. So they're going with the Jeff Johns modern Flash origin. So if you're a fan of the Flash TV show, this should be some stuff in there you recognize.
So for you three, how angry are you? Because I know you're just so angry, especially Charlie, who just doesn't like anything. That they just are like, "Fuck you, Grant Gustin. Like, we're gonna do our own Flash."
No. So,
You don't care about that?
No. So I've talked about this forever.
Okay. I mean, because to me, as an outsider,
Yeah.
I watched season 1. Love season 1.
Yeah.
Just for a lot of reasons. I haven't watched since. Not because I didn't like it, just because life. That, to me, is this DC Cinematic Universe Flash, is the CW guy.
Sure.
So they have this new Flash, and they're like, Grant Gustin, take a seat, a.k.a. don't even be invited. But you apparently seem to find that not at all.
So I have two ways of looking at this. The realistic person in me says, look, it's movie and TV, they're different. They shoot on different schedules. It's just not plausible to have him out there to do it. That creates a level of confusion where you have him on it, but what if they want Aquaman on the Flash TV show and they're not going to be able to get the entire cast? Marvel tried. And all props to Marvel. I mean, we were all pro-Marvel when they said Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this stuff was going to tie into the movies. They've completely pulled away from that because they realize it's just not plausible. None of the Netflix stuff is ever going to cross over with ABC. It's completely separate. None of that's ever going to be in the movies. Daredevil's not going to be in Avengers. Like, it's just not going to happen. They're all separate. They have that core background, right? There is that connection.
Well, it's different for Marvel because they took a step back, but they kept...
They wanted to. They tried.
They're keeping that. This is the Marvel universe, but this is a pocket over here, and this is a pocket over here. Where DC, this is the movie verse, and this is the TV verse. So they're separate. There's no.
I think these things are
okay, but it doesn't seem like you're giving fair enough validation to the fact that like Marvel is actually, even though you don't like S.H.I.E.L.D. and maybe you don't like the Netflix stuff, like they've actually successfully pulled it off. Like they are still what
they tried and it didn't work. That's why they stopped. They could never get any of the cast to be on the movie. They couldn't get the cast of the show to be in the movie. They couldn't get the movie people in the show.
Sure.
Except for like the one Nick Fury
appearance. They had like a 10-second Nick Fury, whatever.
And that's it.
And they had Sif for like 10
one
seconds.
episode.
And whatever. The point is...
Two?
Is that...
Two?
No, I don't know. My point is that like to this day, they share one universe.
Right.
Whereas your DC stuff has its own, like you said, their own multiverse, which is, fair play if you want to think of it like that. And
so that was my second part.
Okay,
so if you want to look at like a comic book fan,
it's very cool to like be a fan of the Marvel universe and be like,
well, here's the thing.
They might not talk to each other and like show up in each other's shit, but they will reference each other just like they did in Iron Fist.
But they don't really. They've all pulled away from that.
They've got either Samuel L. Jackson or Rosario Dawson.
No, the Netflix shows are internally consistent. S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter were consistent, and the movies are consistent. But that's it. And even the movies are.
No, but the Netflix stuff references the movies enough that I'm, as a fan, satisfied.
But the thing is the reference is only like a sliver. It's the vaguest of.
But I'll take it as opposed to zero, which is what the DC fans have.
So here's the problem as I see it with what Marvel did.
Uh-oh. But you like everything.
There was not a two-way agreement when they made this decision to go this route.
Yep, that's true.
So in terms of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is able to reference what happens in the movies, but the movies never references what happens in any of the
and they
TV
can't.
shows.
I mean, they're on
because
such a
they
different...
have 25 times the time.
But my point is they've completely and totally said, like the various actors and that kind of stuff, that they would love to make an appearance, but you kind of have these two entities, and they've talked about this even with what happened with the disbanding of the Marvel Comics committee that was looking towards like the movies and that kind of stuff. Because they used to have like Bendis and Brubaker and all of them.
The Marvel people are completely out of Marvel Studios.
So they...
Wait, what the fuck? Since when is this?
A year ago? We've talked about this.
A whole year ago.
No, but what...
I wasn't on that
Doctor Strange
episode.
was the first movie that Marvel had no input in.
Yeah.
Chink in the armor.
So... they've talked about how like the TV arm is over here doing this and the movie arm's over here like they're
connected by blood vessels, but they don't know what the other one's doing.
yeah
Wow, that is a biological...
they don't connect very well anymore because
Sorry,
they've siloed
I'm in a
them.
physiology class this year.
They've siloed them, and yes, the TV shows can kind of go, look, we're here, but the movie will never go, yes, we know where you're there.
It doesn't fucking matter. The fact that they're still in the same universe, I don't give a fuck. It's better.
So here again, the problem comes down to this. So you have the Supergirl show. That's awesome. Is she related in any way? If it was connected, they couldn't do a Supergirl show because she couldn't be in the same universe as Superman. It would with Man of Steel. It wouldn't make any sense. They were never going to have Henry Cavill on the Supergirl show, and that was a huge episode when Superman came on Supergirl this season. Those are great episodes. So.
Wait. Henry Cavill came on Supergirl?
No.
They cast somebody just...
Yeah, they couldn't have done that if they had a Supergirl show that was in the same universe. So while we all wanted this to work when it started, and we all said, if you remember, Marvel's doing it right, DC's doing it wrong, we were wrong. DC did it right, Marvel did it wrong, and Marvel's course correcting.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
Yeah, I wildly disagree. Wait a minute. Hold on.
DC can have their own
Dude,
CW Netflix.
Rewind this fucking episode, this podcast about a year or two back, and you are prime culprit number fucking one, where you were like, imagine if Oliver Queen will be on the... Oh, I think it'll happen. I think that Oliver Queen will be there with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck.
Right.
And I think
that's
he's
what we
said. And
we were wrong. That's what I said. We were wrong.
Yes, you were wrong.
We wanted that to happen.
What I'm saying now...
And now the time has passed. It is clear that it does a huge disservice to the TV shows, and it wouldn't work. So it's actually much better that DC did not do that. And Marvel probably wishes they hadn't done it either.
Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter... Those came out before Daredevil, and they had to course correct Daredevil. That was where they course corrected. That's why the only real references that you get.
I think even when Daredevil season 1 came out, I think there was still this idea that these characters are going to be in the Marvel.
References were only what happens? The newspapers.
So but I don't even care if they never show up in a Netflix or ABC show. I love the fact that they can reference events like within each other's timelines or meta stories.
Sure.
I like, and this might be, and fair play if it is, to each his own. Like, I love the fact that, you know, Iron Fist, despite what I think of it, which I don't think I've talked about yet, is and Daredevil are able to reference the Avengers, whether or not any Avengers ever show up in my Netflix show or any Netflix characters show up in my movies. Like, I don't care about that. I love the fact that, like, it all shares a universe, so that, like, if there's ever a reference, it doesn't matter because I'm watching a self-contained, like, thing.
This brings up a huge thing with Infinity War.
Right, none of those characters are going to be in the movie.
But that's kind of sad.
That's what they had initially said. Everyone's going to be in the movie, but now it's not. But let's go back to Daredevil season 1. I could look up time. I'm sure people have done timestamps and how long all this stuff lasts. But I don't have that info in front of me. But I'll tell you from how I remember it. I remember Daredevil season 1 having numerous references to the cinematic universe, including an entire episode.
Wait, what are you talking about? It had like one, maybe two, because I've forgotten.
There was an entire episode based around. Was that Jessica Jones?
He says the word "the event" like one time.
You're talking about Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones had the entire episode based around those two people that were going around. What were they doing? Like kidnapping, or they were trying to kill her because they were afraid of the Avengers and all that. So when the show started, I think there really was this push. But as time went on, Daredevil Season 2, Luke Cage, and I haven't seen much of Iron Fist, but what I've seen, the references have become almost non-existent past a very vague, brief mention once, and then never again.
All right, dude. So,
whereas early on, there was many more references to the universe.
Early on, like in Daredevil Season 1, where there was like maybe one?
No, they mentioned it a couple times.
They mentioned,
and Jessica
event.
Jones definitely did.
They mentioned the
They had
event
one of the
with
kids walking around with like a Captain America doll and like plays S.H.I.E.L.D. in Daredevil Season 1.
Oh, that's... Okay.
That's way more mention than they get in any of the other shows.
Okay. Dude, I don't even know how to argue with you. I'm talking about... Okay. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with
Talk
me.
about Iron Fist. How about that?
Dude.
You didn't get to talk about Iron Fist yet.
I really... First of all, before I get to Iron Fist, I really want to talk about Iron Fist. I do have to say, as a fucking parting comment, you are just wildly wrong about this. Like... So wildly wrong 50% in that Daredevil does not have like you're saying that like there's way more references, to use your words, to the cinematic universe in the TV shows than later. I don't think that there were. I think that there was marginally more.
Charlie,
if ever, or if at all more. Okay, first of all. Second of all, the other 50% is that it comes down to like what you prefer. I love the fact that they can, even without having the characters, just reference the same universe, which your universes can't, because they're multiverse and whatever. That's fucking great for you, and to each his own. That's fine. I'm just saying that like I like how it is. Whether or not they intended for it to be something that it ended up not being, and they had to course correct or not. Right now, it is still one universe. I fucking love that. Okay, that's awesome.
So, I agree with Bryce. It is still one universe.
AKA Bryce wins. If Charlie agrees with you...
I agree with you in terms of the Netflix have sort of...
Fuck you, Charlie.
Went away from...
Just kidding.
From a lot of it, but I've actually been catching up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recently. And one of the story arcs is very heavily referencing the movies and stuff right now. So...
But the fact that it references it is awesome, and they don't need to show up in the shows, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, and so here's the problem I have with the current state of the shared universe.
You must be talking about Marvel, because DC doesn't have a shared universe.
Yeah, yes, the current state of the Marvel shared universe, the events of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with all these new Inhumans popping up and all that, like,
God, it's so annoying.
They don't incorporate any new Inhumans into the cinematic movies. They don't reference Inhumans. They don't reference an outbreak of superpowered people at all.
Okay. But while you're going, can we acknowledge that this is very fucking new? I mean, in terms of TV production...
In terms of TV production, they've been dealing with the Inhumans in S.H.I.E.L.D. for 2 seasons now.
Dude, I'm just saying, like, that...
Towards the end, it was the end of season...
You can't not acknowledge this Inhumans phenomenon with Marvel not having the X-Men, and like, oh fuck, we need our own X-Men, is pretty new.
I agree, it's pretty new, but they had already set up the Inhumans and stuff in the show pre-Civil War, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But I guess all I'm basically saying is, I love the fact that the shows can reference the movies.
Okay.
I don't like the fact that the movies basically completely and totally ignore events in the show.
They don't, though. So the beginning of The Chink in the Armor, I mean, Avengers 2...
If the next cinematic movie says, oh, by the way, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s back, and here's the people in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
no, they're not.
I'll agree with that.
That's what they need to say to make you happy, Charlie? Whatever.
They reformed S.H.I.E.L.D. in the show. Yeah. Yes, I'm spoiling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for you now.
That is fucking nasty of you.
But
are you really going to go watch it?
No.
But the fact
I would love to. It just, life.
The fact that they have now reformed S.H.I.E.L.D. publicly...
It's something that would affect what's going on in the cinematic universe because of the shared continuity. The thing is Marvel's shared universe, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for it being an ABC show and having its own feel, and the Netflix shows having that darker, kind of more realistic turn, and the movies having their own tone, the tones can kind of intermix very well. There is no fucking possible way you can intermix Zack Snyder's fucking vision of what we have for DC and the CW characters into the same movie.
Please, God, no.
Or the same TV show.
Great point. That's a great point.
The general
but I would
thing,
never ask that of DC. I do not want Zack Snyder involved at all with DC that I actually, contrary to popular belief, really like. I just don't like Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe.
So the flip side of it for DC, and this is kind of where I fall on it, in the early days, what I really liked about having a television universe and a movie universe shared is the fact that it allows you to do... I love the scene in comic books where there's a big alien invasion and you get a sense of Metropolis is being invaded, Gotham's being invaded, Star City's being invaded, Central City's... Like, you see all these different characters fighting off the Parademon invasion. I love that. I would love it in the Justice League movie if you had Oliver Queen in Star City fighting off parademons just as a quick flash. You don't need a big scene with Oliver Queen in it.
Stop talking. I'm about to orgasm. Yeah. That sounds incredible.
Like, that for me is why I would like to see them connected, because it gives you a very easy way to give...
That's just something that we'll never get. Marvel or DC. That's incredible that we will never get. Yeah. I would love that. Everybody would love that. We'll never get it.
Now,
Marvel
mind
or
you,
DC.
With the way they've set up the DC universe, you can't have Flash and the Justice League universe be shared. But they also set up the multiverse. Yeah. Meaning, if they really wanted to...
When Barry's running, we can see some
Have they set up the multiverse anywhere outside of the Flash TV show?
Well, Supergirl's in her own universe. She's not part of the quote-unquote Arrowverse. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Supergirl's part of the multiverse. And Legends go all over the place. So, yeah.
I did know... Okay,
well, no,
Legends, I did know the
Legends only goes...
But Supergirl,
all over the
she's on
time
CW.
in one place.
She's not in the same universe?
No, but her and Flash go back and forth. So
yeah.
Okay.
Flash, they've jumped from multiple Earths around. I mean, HR is from Earth 19 right now.
Yeah, they keep showing multiverse. Yeah. Flash.
So Flash has a bunch of multiverse.
Arrow's dealt with it, but not regularly. Well, Black Siren, Black Canary, the evil Black Canary from Earth 2. She's on Arrow, and she's going to be regular.
All the fun they've done with Jay Garrick on Earth 3 with John Wesley's ship.
Vibe's girlfriend. What's her name?
Yeah.
Okay, so Flash is taking care of it very well. Supergirl is addressing it. And
they could have an episode of Flash where Flash runs to the Justice League movie and just runs right through and it just pops out the other side or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
That'd be amazing.
And that's all I'm basically saying is
and by the way, that would address the whole thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All
right, we got some questions. It's a really long episode today.
Questions.
It's Bryce. You know it's a long episode. Yeah, we're not going to...
You're welcome.
We're not going to get to all of these, but here we go.
You don't have tattoos to make it a better song.
It's from Ryan Hess. He asks, among all comics, what character do you think has the most complicated origin? That is either Dr. Fate or Hawkman.
Wait, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
No question asked.
Dr. Fate or Hawkman?
Dr. Fate has a...
What was the question exactly?
Dr. Fate has some ridiculous origin stuff.
Did you say most complicated? Moon Knight, too. Did you say most complicated?
Yeah.
How did Cable, not even with the company that you keep, not even come into question?
Not compared to Hawkman.
Cable's got a pretty straightforward.
Wait, your question wasn't who has the most complicated to explain power set?
No, it's origin.
Hawkman.
I know. I
would put Moon Knight.
I got that wrong. Although I still think that Cable. Okay, I guess
it's Hawkman. The answer is always Hawkman to this question.
Yeah.
Hawkman has had such a fucked up history.
Because they retcon it all the time and then try and still make it all apply.
Jeff Johns fixed it.
I still think that... Okay, look.
Jeff Johns fixed it and then they broke it 3 times since then, again.
They broke it 3 times since Jeff Johns fixed it?
Yeah, it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Okay,
people can't stop fucking around with Hawkman.
I might have to bow out of this one. I really thought that Cable's convoluted fucking backstory was enough, but... apparently I was wrong. I was wrong again.
Well, apparently the
first time.
The all new X-Men have a really, really weird fucked up origin now.
Where they just love dancing.
Cisco asks, do you expect Zack Snyder will rectify Clark Kent's return to the land of the living in Justice League? and Lex knowing everyone's identities, or was Warner Brothers crazy / inconsiderate enough to let him push those problems into the next Superman director's plate or Justice League director? No, he's back in this movie. I think there's almost no question about that.
He's back.
Black suit working for Darkseid, maybe, but he's back in this movie.
No, they wouldn't dare. That would be too cool. And they would.
Charlie
would be amazing.
Charlie just looked up.
They never will.
You got him to look up.
Charlie wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that.
So there
was that episode of Superman the animated series where Superman vanished for months.
They did it in Earth too.
There is a not insignificant portion of people that believe that the villain of Justice League is Superman.
Yeah. That Earth 2 story by Robinson from the New 52, that had...
Yeah, Evil Superman. Superman controlled by Darkseid.
Controlled by Darkseid. And it was an awesome story.
Yep. Let's see. Keith, who I had asked a few questions about Superman Reborn. One of the things he said is John uses magic powers of love to hocus pocus Superman back together. I'm the only one who hates those cop-outs. Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it.
Well, I think Tomasi did a great job establishing it in the issue. It was either that one or the one prior with Jurgens.
Yeah.
Where
you're talking about the Paul Dini, the backup?
No, not the backup. Okay. The one where, because in it,
you saw Paul Dini did that backup, too, Charlie?
Mr.
The Mixoplex Johnson.
Yes, I
backup?
did.
Yeah, that was Dini.
I did see that.
Maybe it wasn't that. I don't. But there was a moment where Mixoplex says, "It's always you two. You guys are always like." And the thing is that for me was a good that set it up to be able to resolve Reborn.
Reborn. Yeah.
As they did, and yeah, I mean, it could feel like a cop out, but there are little roadmaps along the way that build to it, so it's not just out of the blue. Oh, look!
No, I mean, I think they did a good job explaining it.
To me, it depends on how they handle it going forward, because right now I'm filled with questions.
Yeah, well, right,
as we talked about,
more will be filled out. Yeah,
so I can't determine if I hate this explanation or not until I see how it pans out.
Yeah. Cisco also asks, grab all the sharp objects away from Bryce before asking.
Oh, man. Too late. Oh.
But if Warner Brothers announced tomorrow the Justice League is a 4-hour-long movie with intermissions, would you still watch it, or would you wait for the Blu-ray? Of course I would watch it.
Wait, what the fuck? Even I would watch it. I would.
Would you really?
I would probably... What?
4-hour-long Justice League movie?
Dude, you
leave during the intermission?
You do realize he has small children. The more time away from them that you're watching something you enjoy...
No, because I would go and see a showing when they're already asleep. Dude, I would love that with the very huge fucking asterisk of this whole, Zack Snyder thing. I liked Arrow's seasons that I watched, and I know those aren't movies, and same with Flash. I saw season 1, and I liked Flash season 1.
Yep.
I did not like Suicide Squad, even though that wasn't directed by Zack Snyder. And I will get to my, unbiased, because I don't like some Marvel properties story later if we talk about Iron Fist. But I really want...
Oh, wait, did we not talk about Iron Fist?
No.
We started to, and you just walked around it.
Bryce,
I didn't walk around it. I'm ready to talk about it. But my point is... I get this whole, anti-DC thing, and it's just because it's been bad. I really want this DC stuff to be good. I'm trying to think of the last good DC thing that's happened, and I'm coming up short. But the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is above so much, if not all, of the Marvel movies ever. I mean, those Christopher Nolan Batman movies. So, and I know that Higgins is the first person to talk about how those should have been incorporated in the DC extended universe, and he used to talk about how fucking Third Rock from the Sun Boy was going to be Robin from the DC EU and all this bullshit. But the point is that I would love... Are you fucking kidding? I would love a DC 4-hour Justice League movie. I just don't want it to be done by Jeff Johns or the guy that did Suicide Squad.
You mean by Zack Snyder?
That's what I said in my mind.
Or David Ayers.
No, I just so I got that wrong. I love Jeff Johns. I wish it was by him, but I meant Zack Snyder. I don't want it to be done by him, and I don't want it to be done by the guys that wrote the Suicide Squad movie. I feel like there's committees behind all these cinematic universes, and that, in my opinion, obviously biased, Marvel is doing a better job. In my fucking even unbiased opinion, Marvel's doing a better job than DC.
When we talked about the extended version of Suicide Squad, I mean, the story wasn't saved in it, but the character development was done better than I enjoyed it more.
Yeah, but I can't even fucking talk about that because Higgins will tell you how BVS is like actually a good movie.
Instead of talking about these movies again and again and again, Bryce, talk to me about Iron Fist.
Dude, Iron Fist. Let me tell you.
Try to stay on topic this time.
This time, I would love to talk about Iron Fist and stay on topic because that's all the topic that I'm going to talk about. Iron Fist, look, I bleed Marvel, and I, let's see, my carotid artery...
We'll get there eventually, people.
My carotid artery would be DC, which is to say that it's a part of me. It's just not as vital, even though, I don't know, fucking carotid arteries, are those important?
You mean DC would be like your appendix?
No. I need DC. I actually like DC, contrary to popular belief. I really like DC.
So it's one kidney?
I just like Marvel so much more. Oh my god, Iron Fist is...
Okay, you've said Iron Fist so many times, you still haven't talked about it. What do you think of Iron Fist?
So, by the way, Uncanny X-Men has been incredible. Have you guys been reading Uncanny X-Men?
And Ryan gets up and walks away.
I was actually about to get to it, and then Brock had to do that whole interruption thing.
No, you're
okay. Look,
lying on your
Iron
ass.
Fist is just fucking unwatchable. I was having the hardest time. I'm at episode 8.5, and I have watched this show every night for the past since it came out. And some nights I just can't get through a whole episode because I cannot stomach what they are doing to this guy. Marvel is the ship that brought me look, let me rewind. That's a rewind sound in case you're wondering.
Really bad one.
So Marvel is the house that brought me a Thor that I unironically liked. They brought me a Doctor Strange that I unironically liked. They brought me a fucking Ant-Man that I unironically liked. What the fuck? How is this even happening? How is any studio able to do this type of thing? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, okay, well, I definitely won't like Jessica Jones or Luke Cage because they're just these peripheral characters. Actually, even though I have some harsh words to say about them, and in my opinion, they could have been incredible with 75% or 66% of the episodes that they actually had were incredibly good compared to my expectations or what they, by any rights, should have been. Same with Daredevil. Love Daredevil. I actually really like Daredevil, but that first season was fucking just bananas incredible compared to what it should have been. So forgive me for having raised expectations after all this hot garbage comes through as 100% in my mind, A+, well, okay, that's an exaggeration, but you'll forgive me because you know me, material that I am just loving. So I'm like, Iron Fist, okay, this is going to be just the same, where they're taking this crazy-ass character that I could give a fuck about, and they're making him incredible. And then the Rotten Tomatoes scores comes out, and I'm like, okay, well, based on, and I use this joke already on Twitter, but foolishly, not all of you are following me on Twitter, which is to say that, based on Higgins' approach, a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score means this is going to be the best thing ever.
I just realized you're actually brief on your Twitter.
You have to be.
So, yeah, I only get 160 characters, I think. And that's after the at Ryan Higgins Ryan, which is in 99% of my tweets. So I only have fucking the last 145 characters.
That's why he has such a long name.
Whatever it is.
He was
anyway, thanks for interrupting me again. The point is that Iron Fist is just such a difficult viewing experience. The fucking plot holes, I went ad nauseum.
How many did you watch so far?
I've seen 8.5 episodes. If you weren't relieving your bladder when I said that already, it has been brutal. It has been a slog. It has been a struggle. It has been a pain. It has been a chore. It has been so difficult to get through 8.5 episodes. Every episode is riddled with fucking face palms and Jesus, what the fuck? And why are they doing that? And action, by the way, the action, I'm going to get into the action in a second, that is like at fucking half speed. Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, look. First of all, can we start with episode, like, well, there seems to be no better place than to start with episode 1. Episode 1, like, this is the worst coming back from the dead story I've ever seen. And I can forgive a lot of his whole naivete about, you know, he doesn't understand how the world works. But it's like, look, okay, I just have so much, I need to organize my thoughts. So
we're going to be here all night then.
So, by the way, can we talk
Strap
about
in.
the fact that he's 25 years old, Renly Baratheon? Okay? He's 25 years old. What the fuck? This kid is at least my age. By the way, I'm 35. Spoiler alert. This kid is at least 35 years old in real life. He's supposed to be 25. He goes missing when he's 10. Okay? The gates of Kunlun open every 15 years. So he's 25? What the fuck? He is like 25 like my wife is 25. Like, and by the way, baby, I love you. So first of all, that's some bullshit.
What, that you love your baby or the Iron Man part?
Anyway, so he then beyond that, you know, my other problem is his appearance. Where look, any movie, be it kung fu or not, like if you're going to be a fucking kung fu master, especially, like, I imagine that Netflix has got a reasonable budget to have any green screen meditation budget.
So bad.
Well, I won't even talk about that yet. But, like, can you at least have your fucking actor work out? We are talking about the most milquetoast, pasty white, cheese dick, motherfucking loser, like, wussy, non-muscular martial arts kung fu expert I have ever seen. Okay? I was shocked when I saw, and, you know, going back to Zack Snyder, I literally thought when I saw 300 for the first time that it was CG, and I'm sure that, you know, there was elements of it. But I was like, the fact is that these guys had to fucking work out for their role. Iron Fist has, if you see him, and there's, in the first 8.5 episodes, plenty of scenes with him with his shirt off, he has practically no muscle definition. And he's been doing nothing in the prime of his life until he's 25 years old, even if he's 35 years old, to, like, doing nothing but, like, mastering kung fu. He can't have any muscle definition? Like, this totally takes me out of it. And then, by the way, he doesn't have any scars. Have you seen any movie with any kung fu person that has to spend like 15 years mastering kung fu where they don't get any scars from like rough teachers? Have you seen a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? Which, by the way, there you go, point proven. You're welcome, Marvel. And so it just doesn't make any sense. He has no muscles and he has no scars. So it's like that doesn't make any sense in and of itself, because it's like this guy doesn't convince me at all that he's the Iron Fist. His naivete, I will forgive. I do actually kind of like that. And by the way, I really like the idea that he's, you know, come back and he has to prove himself and he has to, you know, figure out what's going on, and he's never fought with the hand. And I do like the whole thing about how Rosario Dawson has, by the way, love that she's in this show as well, being the Sam Jackson of the Netflix series. Just the fact that she said, so when she says that she's fought the hand more than him, that was pretty clever. And so, anyway, love that. Like the first several episodes of just him doing the worst humanly possible to convince people of his existence. Like, let me break into these homes instead of, I can't even get into right now the number of ways that would have been smarter, even as a fucking, like, infantile idiot person trying to figure out how to reprove their identity. Like, his first thought is to break into the executive quarters of fucking this douchebag's executive suite, and his sister just happens to walk in that he has a crush on, and by the way, nobody recognizes him, which I can almost forgive. But
if he's 25, that makes her like 22 or something?
She was literally younger than him in the flashback.
Yeah.
And she is running this multi-billion-dollar company. So can't abide it. I can't. Oh my god. Okay. So, and by the way, let's just forgive. I'm going to try to forgive. And let's just say that he's 35 instead of 25, and there's some fucking very random, like, lost thing in here.
Well, it just took him a really long time to get back after he...
Yeah, it opened 15 years later, and it took him 10 years to get back to America, so...
And I love and appreciate the whole, like, naivete. He doesn't understand, because he's been in this, like, in this Kunlun heaven, like, realm for all this time. But it's like... So he comes back, and he thinks that dressing like a hobo is okay. Like, I mean, I guess that's their argument, that he's just so innocent that this seems okay to him, and he's treated with hostility literally everywhere, and he doesn't understand it. And by the way, have any of you fucking owned an Apple product? That shit does not last for 15 years, okay? Apple products are incredible, but they do not last you for 15 years, okay? Not only are they gonna, like...
It's got a magic battery.
Not only are they gonna, like, fucking stop working due to the battery life, but there's gonna be some fucking software update necessary.
He went to the Genius Bar in Kunlun and just got that battery replaced.
And, so... Yeah, anyway, so that's annoying. Toby's whole thing was, like, barely scratching the surface. Toby's thing last week, if you didn't listen, was that they were basically disrespecting sort of to try to net it out without being insensitive as much as I can.
Just listen to Toby's rant.
They're sort of not being fair to different Asian cultures and not giving all of them their proper due in terms of Japanese versus Chinese versus
inconsistent with their representation.
Yes. Anyway, so yes, that. So Colleen Wing, by the way, I'm not even sure that she's like more Asian than Happa. Like, do we even know? She looks Caucasian in the comics. You could make an argument that she's Happa. I don't know. I'm not sure. I fucking
not a lot of Japanese girls named Colleen. So,
well, I mean, who knows what she takes as her first name when she immigrates to the United States? I don't know. Yeah. If she's ABJ, I don't. Who knows? Anyway, all right. So. Like, he goes about literally the worst way possible. Instead of trying to find a reasonable way to prove my, like, existence, let me, like, break into all these places and, like, come across as a crazy homeless person to literally everybody. And, by the way, like, Ward, worst character. Oh, and by the way, Ward becomes, like, a crazy heroin addict over the course of, like, one episode. He's gone, apparently, the past 15 years of just this growing... Oh, my God! And by the way, you have one, like, returning from the dead character in your show. That, like, okay... Call it, walk away while you're still on a hot streak, Marvel. Fucking, you have two dead characters returning to life in one show. Like, so anyway, spoilers for Iron Fist. This is spoilers, right? I can talk about spoilers. Yeah. So the fucking, and I haven't finished it, but the fucking dad dies mid-show. And by the way, he already died, and he came back to life. So meanwhile, half this show, Ward is the... I don't know, one of the antagonists of Iron Fist, who's the worst character Marvel's produced yet. He comes out and he's like expected to have been having this relationship with his father ever since he died, but then he wasn't dead. And then he comes back to life, and so Ward has been dealing with his father as puppet master in charge of Rand Enterprises this whole time. And he hasn't been able to talk to his sister about it, which is really fucking annoying, that he has to pretend that his dad has been dead this whole time, that his sister just isn't able to sort of read between the lines, and he's this automaton that isn't able to, like, express his feelings, even in his weakest moments, which, spoiler alert, he fucking has plenty of weaker moments, by the way. And then the dad dies, and all of a sudden he fucking loses his mind, and not only stops becoming a heroin addict, but starts, like, wanting to just sell out his life to become, like, this peaceful fucking guy. Meanwhile, the sister has no idea that the father was ever alive. And it's just like, okay, how many fucking people need to die and come back to life in this show? So that was ridiculous. I'm not sure that I think that you and Toby got it wrong. Like, you guys were sort of upset, or maybe Toby only was upset that Madame Gao was like, is she with the hand? She's not Japanese. What the fuck? Is she Chinese? Is she Japanese? We don't even know. She's Chinese. That was established in Daredevil. I'm not sure what the confusion was there. But
the hand is Japanese,
right? Yeah. Like, predominantly. But do we know that that's exclusive? And if so, then what the fuck, Marvel? And if not, then what the fuck, Ryan and Toby? Because yeah, she is Chinese, and I actually. So, one thing I do have to say, one positive note, because it's really not all negative in my opinion. I have found, contrary to Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, I have found my enjoyment of the show actually increasing. Whereas with those shows, it was like exponentially on a downslope. I have found that for Iron Fist, the first 4 episodes, I would fucking like light on fire and give to a homeless person.
That's how far I've got.
Oh, okay. So, by the way, that was mean to homeless people. Like, I would, okay, change the subject. But it hasn't like gotten good. It's just like fixed itself, I think. And now it's like there's bad stuff, but it's not like as eye rolly. There's still eye roll moments. There's still like, oh my god, when fucking Ward becomes a heroin addict in like one episode after like a decade of running this $1 billion company, it's like, what the fuck? And like Danny gives him some heroin in his office to show him what Rand Enterprises is up to behind the scenes. He like doesn't throw it away. He like puts it in his drawer. It's like, okay, well, that fair play. Anyway, so I do. Okay, let me talk about the good things. I unironically like the idea behind it. If they were able to tell the story.
Brock's staring at me.
About how he came back to. Is it The Look of Love?
I don't know.
Did that factor into my diatribe?
Love.
So, if they were able to tell a better story about how he came back to life, I think the show would be fucking infinitely better. If they were able to fix the action so that it didn't look so corny, which, I mean, you guys mentioned on the podcast last week, like Into the Badlands, Daredevil, there's
a fat guy in Into the Badlands that does more action than...
I didn't know that. That sounds awesome. There is a not short list of like better action scenes on TV shows or cheap movies that could have been done with the budget that they had for Iron Fist. So it's inexcusable.
I think the action on Arrow is better. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I've only seen the first 2 seasons, and I would, I guess, agree. But I wouldn't give it too much thought because they're very different shows. But I really like what they're trying to do. I love the tournament that he had to go through, although it was a fucking cop-out at the end. There's just so many things that like I love the idea of, but then they just fuck up in the execution. So like, is he in love with this girl or not? Like, trying to take over his company, like he does, but he doesn't. He like is this peaceful hippie motherfucker, but he like wants to like get his rightful place in this $1 billion enterprise, but then he doesn't give a fuck about like what happens. Like they don't even give him a title. Like, so what the fuck do you even care about this for, Danny? It's also, I know that his name is Danny Rand in the comics, but no fucking real business person calls themselves Danny. It's Daniel. It's maybe Dan, but it's definitely Daniel. Okay, nobody fucking calls themselves Danny if they're a legitimate business person. Okay, spoiler fucking alert.
I think they made it pretty clear when he came back he's not a legitimate business person.
Right, but if they're trying to legitimize him, which they were trying to do, they're going to do something like, okay, look, I know that your name is Danny in the comics, motherfucker, but you need to be called Daniel because you sound like an idiot, because you sound like a 10-year-old boy, which is where we left you in the Andes. By the way.
But he has pretty much systematically not taken any input they try to give him, though.
That's an excuse that forgives anything of the show?
No, but I
agree with you. Okay, then the monastery. He's apparently been in this monastery for 15 years. Okay, they don't give us a lot about what he's been up to in the monastery. Did he lose his virginity in the monastery? Well, fair play to him if he did. Otherwise, Colleen, he loses his virginity to Colleen, and fair play to him then as well. Also, I just have a hard time believing that. So he comes back as this wide-eyed guy, like he's never seen the real world because he doesn't know modern-day New York, and that's fair. But I also feel like the monastery isn't a fucking cave. Like, hopefully, there are other people that know ways of the world that would be able to.
Doctor Strange at least had a Wi-Fi password.
Great example. What I never thought that I would say to you at this point in the podcast. So you're right. Doctor Strange is the fucking monastery in Tibet-ish area.
Yeah.
Wherever the fuck he was.
That's on this plane of
No, I don't
existence,
need
universe.
Iron Charlie. Fuck
silliness.
you. I don't need Iron Fist to have a Wi-Fi password. I just need him to like have some semblance of reality. Like, so they show up every 15 years. He's not like, you know, at this monastery with other people that can like teach him like this is how the world is going to be. He comes back as this total fucking idiot. Like, no,
he's
what?
in a monastery that shows up every 15 years that should have pretty much no contact with the outside world.
But dude, you have to imagine. So it has contact with the outside world of our Earth every 15 years, but it probably is phasing in and out of other dimensions. Fair?
Here's a question. Do you think they should have had him be 35 in the show, and he's been back for 10 years, and now he's trying to get his company back, so he has like some experience as an adult?
No,
he got through his 21s and his drinking and
no, that's even worse. There's no way. I mean, they should have. I don't know if it's just canon that Kunlun shows up every 15 years, and if that's so, then fair enough. But like, I guess I would say that maybe I wanted him to get lost when he's 15, when he's just coming into his own, and then Kunlun only like re-enters this dimension every 20 years, so that he's 35. Whatever. These are sort of slight nits to pick, but the action has been sort of laughable, and the story of the coming back from the dead and how he proves himself is definitely laughable. Fucking Ward is laughable. The fucking dad has cameras everywhere. Fucking Boromir is like got New York lit up like a Christmas tree with his fucking little like camera drones. Nobody knows. Like even his son is being spied on with the camera, and he flips off the general air because he doesn't know where the cameras are. He has cameras all over the psych ward. Okay, and it's like you wouldn't notice a fucking lens just poking out of your ceiling. Like I don't stare at the ceiling a lot at my cubicle company, but I can tell you right now that I fucking would notice that if a lens was poking up, because I look up once a day.
They just spy on you through the computer's camera.
And day after day. No, all these shots are aerial shots.
I know, but your company just spies on you through the camera in your computer.
Got it. Good point. So anyway, I think that that was just fucking... Are you kidding me? Nobody knows this guy's alive. He like faked his death somehow. Like Oliver Queen... Or fucking Oliver Queen, you bastard. Danny, not Daniel, Rand, actually people thought was dead, and now he's like incapable of proving himself and goes about it the absolute worst way possible. And the action is just so slow-mo. And I do like, I guess, that he only uses the Iron Fist, like, occasionally. That I do like.
Thank God the show's not called Iron Fist.
Look, this show will be, I think... Or, I'm sorry, this character, I think, will be infinitely better served in a Defenders type of thing, or if he's a guest in the next Luke Cage season, if they have one, I don't know. But, like, I think that they've done a fine job with him as a character, and they've done a great job with him with his power set, in terms of sort of reserving that ace in the hole for when he needs to punch out of a fucking truck. Don't even get me started on the worst fucking use of superpowers ever. I
thought that was Squirrel Girl.
Well, cinematically, I guess, used already. Anyway, so yeah, I give this show, 2 thumbs down. I'm sorry to say. I really like the idea. The writing has just been so atrocious that I find myself making tea instead of drinking a beer at home. And my wife couldn't even be bothered to, like, join. Usually she, like, out of pity, will watch these shows with me and be like, Bryce, Luke Cage, this is episode 10. This has fucking gotten boring. Jessica Jones, season approximately...
There's so much more you could be doing with your wife than watching, like, Iron Fist.
Well, I take care of that too, Brock. Anyway, so, like, she'll be like, Tilda, episode 10, Jessica Jones, like, is this the fucking 6th time that she's escaped from him? What the fuck, Bryce? Anyway, so I'll go and make tea instead of drinking beer. God, it's just... The writing is just... It's just so frustrating, because I feel like they could have done, and they should have done so much more. They've made me like... over a dozen characters that I never would ever have thought that I would like. That they've actually made me like and root for and enjoyed the movies and give 2 thumbs up, if not 1 thumb up, to and this show did not. And I don't know how it happened. It seemed like all of a sudden, like, what the fuck? Where did this come from, this show?
Chink in the armor.
You want to talk about... I would actually not... So while you're fucking, like, just such a silly man for your little chink in the armor comment about...
Hey,
Avengers
you're the one that
2,
made it earlier.
Avengers 2.
I didn't make it.
No, but...
originally.
Avengers
No,
2.
you made it. You made it
that.
about a few things earlier.
Oh, God. Anyway, so as Higgins said about Avengers 2, that was ridiculous. But, you know, I wouldn't say that this is a chink in the armor because I think that's a silly statement. I would say that this is the first, you know, poor thing that Marvel's done.
Yeah.
And I know that you didn't like Iron Man 3. But, you know, I don't know. This was just... It was bad. I hope that whoever was in charge of the writing here just never gets invited back.
Yeah, he's doing the
Inhumans.
the Humans TV show for
The
ABC.
Inhumans one.
It's the
What's
same
his name?
I don't remember the guy's name, but it's the same showrunner for the last couple seasons of Dexter.
Dexter?
Yeah, remember those last couple shit seasons?
All I can remember is the last, like, 2 seasons, especially the last season.
I didn't watch the last one yet.
Holy fuck.
Same guy.
That is, like, literally some of the... I'm trying to think of worst TV. Literally, possibly the worst TV I've
The
ever
only
seen
thing that
was that last season of Dexter.
The only thing that I can really think is on that same level, but I actually think is worse, is the last season of True Blood. That was
Oh my God.
easily the worst season of television.
Well, no. So
I've seen.
True Blood, very rarely, just because I stick with shit well past its expiration date. True Blood, I actually abandoned. I couldn't.
That last season?
No, I did not watch the last at least one season. Like,
Yeah, the last season
I abandoned
was-
that with the Werewolf because I was like,
I think there
fucking.
was still like 2 after that, probably.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
just can't even be bothered.
The last season was bad on a level that I can't even comprehend.
I couldn't even be bothered. And same with Kelly. Like, Kelly will forgive shit. Like we're like symbiotic with, like, you know, helping each other, like, get through terrible TV. But yeah, Dexter we did finish in spite of ourselves, and the Werepanther True Blood we were just like, fuck this shit, can't even be bothered. Anyway, I'm very sorry to hear the fucking Dexter guy did Iron Fist and is doing, what did you say?
Inhumans.
Oh fuck. Okay. Anyway, I'm bummed to hear that. That's too bad. I feel sorry for myself.
All right. It is time to wrap up. We have to go. It's a long podcast. Anyway, at the beginning of this episode, I thanked all our great top-tier Patreon backers, so don't forget to go check out all the stuff that I suggested, as well as go to patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Go to comicconspiracypodcast.com. That is our podcast. You can find all our previous episodes there, as well as Geekbox.net and iTunes. Rate and review us, please, if you can.
Oh, and if you were going to buy all new X-Men number 19, instead, don't buy that. Give that money to the Comics Conspiracy podcast. Instead, we benefit much more than Dennis Hopeless and Paco Diaz with his Rush terrible art, and Marvel for putting out a shit-can comic. And literally everybody that deserves it wins.
The Comic Conspiracy at Geekbox.net, contact form. Don't forget to email us.
Don't forget, you get access to Bryce Briefly's in the Roundup.
That is correct. When those happen, Toby. Patreon.com/comicconspiracy again. Don't forget that. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can buy your digital comics from us. Lots of good sales on there right now, so go check those out. ConspiratorBrock.com, that's Brock's blog and video pull list. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, that's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. And my wife, she has an Etsy shop at etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. I'm on Twitter, Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce is Larsen Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. Insanity in Chaos, that is Charlie. And Comics Con Store, that is the store. Don't forget to check out the Geekbox Comedy Button, Good Job Brain, All Talk Podcast, and Manga Machinations. Those are little podcasts on our network. All worth listening to. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.